as I said, we're compiling this data and we want to present it to you, and we want to have more input and engagement with the community as well as NYCHA residents, so we can all coexist together. Thank you.
Thank you, Madeline. Please check our site. And Johnson have been leading this effort for over a year now, and we're really proud that it has set an example throughout the borough of Manhattan, throughout the city actually, and really feel strongly about how important it's going to be for the neighborhood. So thank you guys very, very much. A couple of just other brief announcements. From my personal note, this is my last meeting. I wanted to extend a very quick but very heartfelt thank you to all 50 members of this board. It has been an absolute honor for the last 3 years. I have too many stories to recount, and I know that there is a Mets game tonight, so I want to make sure that people are home in time for that. But I did just want to send a special thank you both to Comptroller Stringer, who appointed me when he was the borough president in 2010, and the borough president, the current borough president, Gail Brewer. Remarkable, has done amazing things for community boards, which I deeply believe in, and I believe that they'll be even stronger after I am done being chair. I also want to thank our local elected and the committee chairs. So each and every one of you means so much to me, and be gearing up on November 1st and not having some call or something to do. I did seeing her at the gym more often now that I actually am going to have evenings a few more evenings. But very difficult. Really hope more that we continue to work together as a neighborhood and as a board to make things better for this district and city. So thank you to all. The final note is to the person who has been in the light of love, Penny Ryan. Back in the corner. None of the work we do on the board. First, John Martinez, who's probably the door, but who's tracking things. They work extremely hard and deal with the 50 of us, many of whom have full-time jobs and are working, and just an amazing, thank you, John. And I think that was the hardest part to leave, is being able to have my daily talks with Penny, but I'll probably still do that anyway, given that I know her chair. So thank you all, and we're gonna go right into the next item on the agenda, unless there are any more. I think, yes. Oh.
Diana has something to say.
Oh, where is Diana? Oh.
Don't run away. This is for you. Did electors give their speeches yet?
Not yet.
Okay, so I did want to just come and present you with the Proc Elizabeth from our office.
Thank you.
Yes, so you can hold it.
Oh.
And I want to read to you what it says. Hello, everybody. I'm Diana Howard from the Borough President's Office. Good to see you. So the Proc reads. We are greatly honored to recognize individuals and organizations who have made a significant contribution to improve and enrich community in the borough of Manhattan. Whereas in her 6 years of service on Manhattan Community Board 7 and her 3 years as chair, Elizabeth Caputo has worked with integrity and dedication to ensure each board member has a role and a voice, never taking anyone for granted, while grappling with contentious neighborhood issues in a fair and expedient manner. Whereas a 23-year resident of the Upper West Side, Ms. Caputo has followed a lifelong interest in public service in her leadership of CB7, sharing business acumen and the organization skills of community activists, as well as good judgment, resiliency, a deep commitment to a collaborative work for neighborhood good. And whereas, as chair, Ms. Caputo worked to establish the Inclusive Playground Task Force, which successfully completed a community process design, the Bloomingdale Playground on 104th and Amsterdam, and the Public Housing Task Force, which has been reaching out to tenant leaders and residents to address issues in NYCHA development. And whereas, sorry, it's kind of long, but she's done a lot.
3 years is a long time.
And whereas, before assuming the role of community board chair, Ms. Caputo served as vice chair of CB7 on the Parks and Environmental and Business and Consumer Issues Committee, giving an ample experience to help CB7 pass meaningful resolutions on the American Museum Natural History expansion. I know that's on the agenda tonight. Weston Avenue Presentation improvements, and again, the Playground 89 design.
Don't forget the bike lanes.
And the bike lane. There you go. Whereas during her tenure, CB7 has launched working groups on street design, data and technology, and use technology more efficiently to improve community outreach, including policy of live streaming CB7 school board meetings. Whereas Ms. Caputo holds an MBA from Harvard Business School and her career in public finance at Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, and currently Janie Montgomery.
I'm actually not working.
There you go.
I work at the World Economic Forum.
The World Economic Forum. And whereas she is a proud mom of a free-spirited golden retriever, Harry's mix named Leo, Ms. Caputo has become the champion of animal welfare causes, especially the treatment of dogs, and is widely known by store owners and fellow dog lovers across her neighborhood. Now, therefore, I, Diana Howard, on behalf of Gail Brewer, do hereby commend Elizabeth Caputo on her many contributions to the city and proclaim Wednesday, October 5th, 2016, Elizabeth Caputo Appreciation Day in the Borough of Manhattan.
We'll see if that still holds after the end of this meeting. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to the borough president. And again, thanks to everyone else. The two other people that I did want to acknowledge who are here, and I wouldn't be here without them, are my parents who are here tonight, David and Alice Caputo. They've never seen a full board meeting. They always seem to come, my father seems to come to the most exciting ones. The only other one he's ever been at dealt with the Amsterdam Avenue bike lane. So he didn't understand. 3 people called me liars during we didn't understand possibly. So in any event, I love you very much, Mom and Dad, and thank you for joining tonight. So with that in mind, we're now going to move to the elections, who will very ably fill a role that I have, as well as the rest of the executive committee. All of our executive offices are up tonight, and I'm going to introduce our elections chair, Howard Yaris, who is right there, who's going to announce how things are going to run tonight, and then take things from there. So thank you very much, Howard.
Thanks. This is a bittersweet task, but it's required in the bylaws, so don't blame the messenger. You all have a ballot in your packet. It's the second or third page. What you should do before you do anything is write your name in block letters on the back. I've done this a bunch of years now, and I just want this to go smoothly this year. So write your name in block letters on the back. And once you've done that, we'll get to discuss the elections. As you can see, there's one candidate for chair, and there's only one seat, but we have to go ahead with the election because the bylaws say that everyone, even if they're running unopposed, has to get the support of the majority of the community board members who are here. So that goes for the chair and for the 2 co-secretaries. So even though it's not a contested election, please mark an X if you support their candidacy. And again, you vote for 1 chair and 2 co-secretaries, and sign where it says round 1. Again, you sign where it says round 1 on the side on which you vote, and you write your name in block letters on the other side. Now to the interesting part of this. There are 2 openings for the vice chair. Well, there are 2 openings. And we have 1 candidate on the ballot. And at this point, because the other candidate who was nominated withdrew, we are going to entertain nominations at this meeting for a second candidate, for another candidate.
I'd like to nominate Polly Spain.
I second.
Okay. I'm just writing it down. Any other nominations? Yep.
Nominate Linda Alexander.
Linda Alexander, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. So it looks like we'll have a contested election after all. Any other nominations? Yes.
Nominate Shelley Klein.
Shelley is on the nominating committee.
Appreciate it. I decline, but thank you.
Any other nominations before we close the nominations? Okay, well, if there are no others, everyone should write in those two names. Write in Holly's name and Linda's name on the two of the first three empty lines.
Oh,
for
so
the
sorry,
vice chair.
sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
I think there is somebody who had requested to be nominated and brought a statement with her. It's Tina Branham, so I would like to nominate her.
Oh, sure. So we have four. Is there a second?
Tina Branham.
Tina Brown.
Okay.
Thank you.
So Tina, so we have three additional nominees. So there's Audrey, who's already on the ballot, Holly, Linda, and Tina. We have four nominees. Works well, because we only have four boxes. Okay, can I close the nominations? So moved. Okay. So the process for voting is as follows. Again, name in block letters on this side. Sign your signature where it says round one on this side. Make it one X for the chair. Make two X's for your choice of vice chair. Again, there are four people running. And indicate, you can put in all four names. You don't have to, but you can put in all four. And indicate with two X's, the two candidates you're voting for. And last but not least, the secretary, again, you can vote for two. And in a moment, members of the nominating committee, Andrew, Blanche, and Shelley, and I will collect your ballots and count them up. Yes?
Are you going to open the nominations in case someone's running for chair that we don't know about yet?
Well, point of order. Yep.
Yeah.
You can only open if there's a vacancy. There's a vacancy for
Any
the treasurer.
nominations that were made last time that don't have an open space now cannot be.
Right. Well, because there was a vacancy, that's why there was additional nomination for vice chair.
Oh,
So-
thank you.
What about remarks? Remarks from candidates? How are you taking remarks from candidates?
Yes. Oh,
Usually
well, we're going to have remarks from candidates. The non-contested, and if you want to do the.
I just thought every election we've allowed the candidates to get up and speak if they want
well,
to, isn't that right?
Again, sounds very good. And we'll do the non-contested positions first. We'll start with Roberta.
I'm honored to be your nominee, and I hope to continue some of the wonderful things that the previous chair and present chair, Elizabeth, have done. And I hope that we will encourage members of the community to continue to come to our meetings, and that we'll be able to listen to them and help them communicate effectively with us.
Manuel? Manuel?
Hi, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to keep on working within the community board. And I'm going to echo what Roberta said, to have a board that's always going to be open to everybody in the community, to make it a stronger community, to make it more cohesive community, in a place where everybody wants to come, live, and have a great life. Thank you.
Christian?
Hello. I've been a co-secretary for a year already, and I think I'm doing a good job, and I just like to keep working and helping the board in that capacity. Thank you.
Great. Now we'll do the four vice chair positions, which is again the one contested race, and we'll start with Audrey.
Community, forgive my back. It's just that I'm a trustee, not a board member, so I'm standing back here. Thank you. I'll try to look at all of you as these. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve with each and every one of you on Community Board 7 and to be your vice chair this past year. My project as vice chair was to organize a series of programs highlighting the activities of each committee. As a result, the Land Use Committee did a program in April entitled Lessons Learned, explaining the concept. It's a very helpful document that I recommend to all of you. I've been reaching out to other chairs of other committees in an effort to next program. I'm of the Housing Committee. I arranged a panel in April on the emerging changes in healthcare. Participants include representatives of government, healthcare facilities, and other such providers. Last week, I assisted the co-chairs of the Health and Services League in organizing a program on crime and alternatives to it. I served as co-secretary of community justice for a year. My involvement in New York City issues is not recent. Since my college days, I've been deeply interested and active in these issues. I was president of the City Club of New York. I did television programs which government officials would talk about their. I'm on the board of the Parkwest Policy Forum. I'm active on the community relations. Local. So I hope you'll give me a
Good evening, everyone. My name is Spain, and I'm honored to accept the nomination of a candidacy Vice Chairman Board 7. I want to thank you because I would love to use my experience and my background as a civic leader to enhance the community board and also in my professional experience as an educator. I've been a TA president of a NYCHA resident association for the last 7 years, also as a vice chair of the Manhattan South District Council president, which presides over 47 resident associations from the Lower East Side all the way up to the Upper West Side, East and West. In addition to that, I currently serve as the treasurer of the PSA 6 Community Council, and I've also been instrumental in bringing free Wi-Fi to public housing campuses here on the Upper West Side, along with virtual resident watch programs. I currently serve on 2 committees, the Housing Committee as the co-chair, and also on the Youth Education Committee as well. So it's my pleasure to be able to use my experience and my service to support the members here on the community board and to do whatever I can to make this a great community. Thank you.
Okay, I don't know if this is working, but I have a big voice, as you know. I've been on this community board serving with this wonderful and austere body of folks since 2001. I was originally appointed, thanks to Barbara Adler out there, by Rodney Aldridge. But I've been an activist in this neighborhood since 1977. Raising money for street beautification with my old neighbor, Dale Brewer, all the way to co-founding a dog run in Theodore Roosevelt Park. And that's how I got on the board. Since being on this board, I have served on nearly all of our committees, from land use to parks to housing to transportation to BCI. And now I'm honored to be co-chair of communications, a committee, thanks to Elizabeth Caputo, that was founded this year. And I serve with Superbody. And our job has been to enhance communication to our community and to bring more people and more neighbors into the community board process. So I'm very honored to run this evening, and I would love to work certainly with Roberta, with whom I've been working for many years, and continue working in a different role. So thank you very much.
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So my name is Tina Branham. I don't have nearly as much experience on the board as a lot of people that came. Can you hear me now? Okay. My name is Tina Branham. I joined Community Board 7 a little over a year ago and have been attending much experience and the people that came for me, but that's precisely why I decided to run and join the board. I think that there's such a wealth of knowledge on the board and experience, and I've learned so much over the past year and a half. Everything learning how to write a resolution to going through elections and learning how to build support for an independent idea that I had. And I think that it's so important for people my age who get into these spaces and start to feel comfortable speaking in front of such a large crowd. But I think that it's really important for me and people like me to learn how to do this as early as possible, because there will be when a lot of you are no longer with the board, and I want you guys to feel, not that I don't want you to leave anytime soon, but I think it's just a reality that at some point a lot of these roles would be filled by my generation, and I think it's important for a lot of you guys to feel comfortable that you've left the board in good hands, so that whether it's like an issue about sunlight or another development project, you feel like, okay, I've put the board in hands that are very capable and they know how to represent me. So that's and I appreciate your support. And thank you so much.
Okay, we'll collect the ballots in just a minute, but just remind you, the four candidates for the vice chair are Audrey Isaacs, whose name is on the ballot, and then Bob Spain, Linda Alexander, and Tina Branham are the names you should write in. Make sure to you can make one X or no X's, but no more than two X's, and fold it in half, and we'll collect them and count them. And hopefully it won't be a tie.
And make sure to sign them.
Sign on line one.
Sign on line one, everyone.
And you write your name in block letters on the back. And fold it in half so that your name with the block letters shows.
I know that's happened in the past, I think.
No, I mean, at some point you won't accept ballots any longer, correct?
Oh, right, so how long do people have to submit the ballots to you?
Oh, they have to submit it before we count them, but we're counting in about a minute, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so just as a reminder, sign, make sure you in block letters, put your name on the back. For one, and vote for 2 candidates for vice chair, and up to 2 candidates for secretary and candidate for chair.
Maybe fold it like this. Just very easy.
Okay. So as the elections committee is rallying up ballots in the next minute, we're going to move into, I'm going to bring Diana back for the borough president's report, and then have elected officials before we move right into the business session. Diana.
Thank you. My pen. Okay, 2 things. First, the rec center on 95th Street, the Gertrude Elderly Center, is finally open. It was a lot and to go. There was a lot of work going into it, so we hope you guys go over there and spend some time. Rule changes for street festivals. Andrew. Yes, right here. So the public hearing got extended to the 27th of October, I believe. So you guys will have some time to.
Is it the 27th or the 24th?
Public
The
hearing,
27th.
public comment.
Okay, so an
Hearing's
announcement
still
about
on the
that, just
13th.
Andrew?
Yes.
So can I just make it quick enough? I neglected to mention this in the chair's report. So the BCI committee is going to take up the street repair resolution that's on the docket for tonight. They're actually going to table that. They were getting on the 24th because they thought that the vote was being taken on the 20th. I guess. Okay. There will be a special meeting about the street repairs before the actual hearing. So keep in mind about that. It will not be on the resolutions that we vote on tonight. That's being stricken from the record. So thank you.
Thank you. I opened the Manhattan Community Award that we give to nonprofits and schools. This year, we also introduced what we call Fresh Page Manhattan Initiative. It's an effort to promote healthy eating in different neighborhoods. So we have a lot of the borough. We have a lot of good applicants, and we're excited to see what comes from that. Market series are starting up again. Email will come from our office in the next couple of weeks with the registration link again open for members members of the team from our office. If you pick up our news packet at the back table outside, I have some testimony and other stuff that Gail did recently. Some on the right to counsel, which is Councilmember Levine's bill. We're very supportive of that. We feel that people in housing court need representation. It's just that simple, especially for tenants, because it is very yourself. We deal with a lot of them that need help. Also, we know that the museum is on the agenda for today. There's been more response coming from our office, but we are excited to see how this project is going to move forward for the educational purposes. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. Okay, so I'm going to call up, I think we have, sorry.
Check, we're done. So let's just begin. Any last balance?
The officials here, including our house. Oh, so Senator Wellman. Please come forward.
Right now. State Senator Brad Wellman, and I have the honor and privilege of, we can't do a lot in the state Senate, but we can present some nice looking proclamations. I tell my staff, Tara Klein, that I often like the Wizard of Oz, just going around and proclaiming things. But nevertheless, this is from the heart, because Elizabeth, you personify that Hemingway phrase, grace under pressure. And as a former community board chair myself, I know that it's not an easy job. I know that it's a lot of work. I know that the pay sucks and the hours are worse. But you have done splendidly. And I know I join my colleague, Councilman Rosenthal, in applauding you for making this position so important to us, for being a resource to the elected officials, because the community boards, let's face it, are the eyes and ears of our community, and you have led this board extremely well. So, with that in mind, I just wanted to say, and I'll be brief as you count the ballots, that I, State Senator Brad Wellman, recognize that in Elizabeth Caputo, we have an individual worthy of our highest esteem and respect. We resolve that State Senator Brad Wellman, again, declare, here's the great part, declare Thursday, October 6th, not today, because you get to enjoy this all day tomorrow. Thursday, October 6th, 2016, to be Elizabeth Caputo Appreciation Day in New York State's 27th State Senate District. Now, I expect you to be carrying this around tomorrow as you wonder the boundaries of the 27th State Senate District.
I know them.
Yes.
I know them because I have moved twice because of my dog, and I wanted each time to move into places where I knew you were still going to be my
Well, that's terrific. So don't go about 72nd or it doesn't count. Congratulations. We're going to miss you, but you've really, really risen the bar. And to Roberta and the new team, and I know Tara and I look forward to working with you. Thanks so much.
Before we go to the staff report, thank you. Our councilwoman and former Helen.
Elizabeth, I can't follow that with anything. I'm hoping to next month. But congratulations on October 6th being your day. And thank you for all your hard work. You were the first chair to serve the 3 terms under the new bylaws. And you served your terrific public servant. And you'll get my appreciation next month. I'm going to do a report there. So great to see everyone tonight. I know you have a couple of things on your agenda that are incredibly important. The Museum of Natural History is here, as everyone. I very much support this project, really excited to see it move along. I'm looking forward to hearing what the community board has, the preservation committee going on. For those of you with public school children, I encourage you to stay engaged. The legislature has kicked off again. I'm very proud to have sponsored a couple of pieces of legislation that have already passed, and to have some very important ones that will be coming up in the next few months. The one that passed is that we are foldable bikes into passenger elevator when we go to work, and all bicycles now, according to the building code, can go in residential or office buildings, so in passenger elevators, which is pretty because for those of us who bike to work, especially with foldable bikes, you can't really lock it out. So I was very excited to pass that law and to sign it and to watch the bill to law. Actually, I'm going to turn it over to you. Do you have any questions about what's going on in the city or in our neighborhood? From the community board is actually the appropriate place to look.
Anyone from the board?
Nope.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. I update people on the participatory budgeting process. We are doing this again. This will be our third year doing it. So we're turning over $1 million to you in the community to vote and decide how to spend that money. We've spent the last month, Sean Fitzpatrick from my office up there, has spent the last month collecting ideas. If I remember correctly, we have more this than any other year. True. 200 ideas that now will go to the volunteers. That are realistic and budget. Every year we have about 15, and then in the spring we'll turn it over to vote to decide what should be funded. It's an incredibly exciting project, and once again this year Mark Filler is helping us out throughout the entire. Thanks, Jen. All right, thank you guys much.
Thank you. Okay, I think the remaining elected officials who are here, we're going to move into elected official staff reports. We appreciate you adhering to the rule germane to this neighborhood and your remarks. So we're going to start with Laura's office, followed by Mariel's controller's office, followed by Senator Serrano's office, some of our office. So if you could please just try to get in line, because we've got a really busy agenda tonight. We'd like to get everyone's one. So
Congratulations. Your retirement for the day, almost nothing. Okay, October 30th, we're releasing our worst landlords watch list, because every year to kick it off with a rally. The rally is going to be at 10 a.m. in Foley outside. If you want to come, please join us. Stand with us to demand that these flares their properties. That's all. Have a good night.
Regardless that you would say that was this number, it did work, they thing.
Of course, I mean, we haven't the list just yet. We're making sure that things in it and we're to that. And then you compare both. There are definitely people who have fallen on the list. Also change rank on those. Next one. October 13th, it'll be released. You'll definitely is now. So. Listen, people, it makes a difference.
But what you're doing is making a difference. Out there, transparent, that you're not.
We'll see you October 13th, I guess.
Good evening. I'm Royal today. My name is Angela Cruz. I work for the New York City Controller's Office. I know you guys love Dan. He'll be back next month. I'm really happy for him too, so I appreciate that. Just 2 quick announcements. We are having a Polish Heritage Breakfast. It is on 77th Street. Friday. The doors open. If anyone is interested, this information is outside. And you present the Italian Community Breakfast. The doors open at 8:30 a.m. So it's a good networking session, and there's really great food. And when there's food, there is me. So you know that we we're going to be a learning of natural history, and hopefully you will hear from my boss very soon about his comments on that very soon. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you so much for being here today.
All right, everyone. Good morning. Okay, just making sure everybody's with me. I'm from Senator Serrano's office. Have a few announcements about what's been going on in the community. Everything is included in our community report. The governor's office emergency out our Thank you so much.
Hello, friends. Sean Kaufman from City Council Office. We represent all of you who are around there know there's been a construction happening with the boat area. Not much to be done about that, unfortunate necessity, but what we want is make sure that those nifty metal plates that they have are properly so that you up at night. Back there, and I have already made the Department of Transportation quick lunch be played. So if you have any issues, feel free to contact our office. Give me a call and we'll talk about it. Thank you very much.
And then David Bailey.
My name is Bruce. I am from the office of God. With Israel on West 70th Street, which has applied for a zoning variance from the City Board of Standards and Appeals in order to erect a 9-story building of the Central Park West Historic District. This is something Senator Godfrey is strongly opposed. He voting to disapprove consideration of that application until more questions are answered. The rationale the synagogue is giving is that it's barely changed its plans from its 2008 proposal, which was approved by the Board of Standards, but in fact the plans are significantly different. Luxury condos, which in keeping with the synagogue's stated mission of religious education. And so this is a very dangerous precedent. This would actually be a 119-story block in the middle of one of the most precious historic districts in the entire city. It would be the tallest R8B building in a mid-block in an R8B zoning ever built. The Board of Standards and Appeals will be hearing testimony on the case and then also offering deliberations publicly on October 14th. There is information in Assemblymember Godfrey's newsletter about how to write to the board if you would like to. I'd love to encourage you all to take the day and go down to the Board of Standards and Appeals. The problem is it can literally be all day. We don't know when exactly that's going to hit the docket. And so unless you're prepared to spend the whole day, I'm not going to, in good conscience, encourage you to do that. But certainly written testimony can be submitted to the Board of Standards and Appeals. I say the address is in the newsletter. Thank you.
So, thank you. That many of you were at our meeting last month where this issue was discussed extensively. I think between Payne and Richard.
Our strategy is to hold so many meetings that boards with this topic. And the strategy, which is the Wednesday, October, I think it's the 19th. We're going to look at this once again, and we think she was forthcoming, and it's time to take a stand on the merits, which is whether or not we think this is a minor or whether the content is whether there has been a change in when both records are complete. We think the record is now as complete as it's ever been.
November 1st.
Oh, November, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Thank
you.
Okay, thanks. So just tune on our website for details and updates on that, because there's a lot moving around. We know it's very important to the community. We have a few more elected official staffs. I know Gus, make your way up, because I know we're going to try to wrap this up soon.
Hi, my name is David. Promo came to the Senator Essex District to make it increased accessibility for breast cancer screenings. So for now going forward, if you're on private insurance, there's no copay or deductible for breast cancer. Standard hour 9 to 5. If you go before or after work, depending on the day. Also, since and many of you know Senator Scott, he's currently moving to place in the state Senate. in Alcantara for becoming the Democratic nominee. I'm sure she'll come down here shortly, but if you'd like to reach out, feel free to contact me and I can put you in touch with her as well. Also, maybe you might remember Carmen Danny O'Donnell around here. She just got elected to the State Assembly in Washington Heights and Inwood also. So, thanks.
We don't have a card for you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Eric Cuello. I'm from the Office of Councilmember Mark Levine. I will keep it very brief. Just want to let you know what our office has been up to. We had a rally for Injustice of Rights Council. We believe that anyone who is in housing court should be provided a lawyer for housing court. We've seen the statistics and we see that having a lawyer, you'll have a much better chance of winning your case than without. So this is a bill that's really important to us, and we know it's important to our constituents, everyone here. We were talking about participatory budgeting earlier. Our participatory budgeting window has closed, but if you'd like at our district office, and for more information, there are flyers outside our part, but we also have a satellite office at the Douglas houses. So please take a look at the information outside. Thank you.
Just one thing.
Yes.
I was at the rally, and I have to say that the 241 to guarantee that every person who is in jeopardy of eviction will have a lawyer, and it was the biggest and most successful rally I've ever seen in 40 or more years on the steps of City Hall. So, Councilman Levine and everyone.
Yes.
Deadline for submitting by email is the 14th. Is that still the case?
So from or I believe you can still email it to the 14th.
Hi everyone, I'm Gus from Assemblymember Rosenthal's office. After last week's Assemblymember to the New York State HFA, asking them to withhold review of the GID application for Riverside Development until there was greater transparency on the costs of access to amenities. And to my understanding, there was a 10% reduction that was promised for affordable renters, but we still do not know what those prices will be. On a legislative, the governor signed the Assembly members' solar tax credit bill last Friday. The bill will provide a tax abatement for anybody who installs solar home. We are still fighting hard to combat Airbnb lobbying against our short-term rental investment bill. For the number, there's a few events coming up. October 19th, 10 to 1, we have flu shot day at the district, and November 10th, 10 to 4 is our mammogram.
Our elected officials reports. Before we, yes. Yeah. Gail's here. Are you sure? Okay. Well, before we move into the first item on the business agenda, a report from our elections committee. I don't know if there's.
Yes, again, I'm sorry to see the old officers go, but I have the honor of announcing the new officers. Roberta, new CB7.
process here in this district. And Jay is going to describe the water put this on tonight. The first step of these process is the design. After Jay, the museum will make the goals of the museum, and then we'll turn it back. We'll be ending at that point. We'll then open it up to community discussion. We have community comments. Everybody who has turned in a green slip, and we'll discuss the process there. We'll get their or seated to someone else, and we will come back for board, and that's the point to very briefly and then present the resident. Have Jason about the broader picture.
Well, I actually describe the process and give you some, I hope, will answer some. At the joint committee meeting, we had 10 committee members, non-committee board members, so there are a lot of factual questions that were brought up, and I'm going to review some of those, hopefully to give you some information that you'll be interested in, and as I said, we'll answer some of the questions. There's a lot, notwithstanding our this particular, a lot of questions raised about the environmental impact of this project. As a point of information, there will be an environmental impact statement forthcoming in this process. That will be approximately 3 months. When that happens, then the process will again come back to our 40 appropriate committees and the full board. What we're dealing with now is the initial step in this process. Landmarks preservation commission for evaluation of the design of the park, the design of the everything. So we live in this park, and it owns the buildings that are constructed in this park, and by a statutory agreement that goes all the way back to 1876, the buildings are leased to the American Museum of Natural History, which is a not-for-profit corporation. It's that corporation which administers, operates the museum. The landmark is the city of cultural is satisfied, get a place because of the ownership is what the landmarks commission will do after it evaluates this at a public hearing. Will issue a binding report to the agencies which are the applicants of the agency. The commission, several organization individuals, was a request for the community board not to consider this as it moves forward. Secondly, as we've seen historically, master plans can be changed, they can be amended, and they can be tweaked as time and circumstances change. And finally, the question was raised to the museum about whether in fact there are any plans in the offing for any future projects. And we accept the fact that at least as of now, the Skilder Center is the only thing that's on the drawing board. So so the master plan really wouldn't give us much information moving forward. With that, what we'd like to do, Abby is going to present slides, and we've asked Ellen Futter to give us just a few minutes background, focusing on the impetus for this project from the museum's perspective. And after that, Bill Higgins, who was a preservationist for the museum on this project, to give us a brief exposition of the historic background of the museum.
Great. Thank you. And just a reminder to members of the board and the community, this is, for many of you, the second or third time you've seen parts of this presentation. The museum has come to us and presented in a public setting the details for this plan over the course of the last year, including as recently as early September. So hopefully you've all had a chance to get an update. So thank you for joining.
I really want to thank for its consideration of the to give you a sense of some information about the museum project, but really about the thinking, particularly for those of you who did not hear us at the committee. In addition to exhibition which some on site, well as the new building house, a series of internal and external needs. I'm going to start our engine 5 year, including
of my end is regarding its appropriateness, which is the finding that the Landmarks Commission the Gilder Center is a contemporary language expresses the identity and the mission and the many functions of the museum, and does it in a way that is consistent with a number of fundamentals of the museum's history: architectural evolution, the evolution of the site, and certain characteristics of the architecture. These things are all shown very well in this 1897 rendering that shows the original plan for the building at a number of points. This master plan was major focal point architectural elements at the center of each of the facades, with points to 1 degree or another. And on the left there, you'll see in the center that where we are proposing the Gilder Center is just where the master plan calls for one of those architectural focal points, and which are not there now. We also know that this is a direct to linear plan. There's so much about right angles, but you also see when you look at the corner towers and at those that central tower, the focal points at the various centers of the facades, that there's also a kind of sub-language going on here of a very curvilinear, sculptural quality. So that interplay of the rounded and the rectilinear is something that you also see these major corridors that are going right through, crossing at the center of the complex, and these are meant to provide not only define ports for light air, but also to provide service. The corridors have never been completed, and any of you who've been to the museum know it causes serious problems. Dead ends, confusion, an inability to navigate comprehensively through this great complex, and what our particular center is very much something that I'm also seeing to the architect, which was sort of rectilinear parterres in front of the museum, and of course that has evolved over time. It's science that happens which so many people still consider to be one of the best, but which is also respectful.
change the thing now? And where's the clicker? Oh, you have it. No, who's changing the slides?
Can you change the slides?
He's gonna be. But this is a pointer. Oh, I am going to present the first of the design of the park, the way I do every other application to our committee, which is to show you what's there and what's proposed. And then if there isn't enough information, we can add more. So this is the existing site plan at Columbus Avenue is at the bottom, and this is the museum, a portion of the museum, and this is the current. Let's just make sure I get this right. Do I have it? No, I don't want to do that. I'm sorry. Would you do the slide get out I'm used to using? Excuse me, guys.
Thanks.
There we go. Okay. Okay, so this is the existing, this is Columbus Avenue, and this is the current entrance to the fourth entrance. Go to the next slide, please. So this is the proposal now for the new Gilder Center, the new entrance off of Columbus Avenue. And Jay will give more statistics, but this is taking down several buildings and removes all of a quarter acre of the park, and then there'll be some parkland changes. Next, please. Again, this is the existing condition looking at from Columbus Avenue into the entrance, the current entrance, and next. And this is the proposed entrance. So you're starting to see a rendering of the proposed parklands. Next, please. This is an interesting drawing that describes in red the paths and the current entrances and conditions, and the non-highlighted areas are the new plans. So you can see actually there's a lot that's being retained and replicated, and in fact in certain areas, lawn space is being amplified. Can we go to the next one, please? So this is looking north from 79th Street about to 81st Street, the current condition, and the proposed is next. And so again, you see a slightly more open area, and as I believe Bill said, or Ellen, that there were different areas have been designed so that you have some areas for respite and kind of quiet reflection, some areas for play for kids on paths, on little scooters, and then some areas that are separate for circulation and entrance to the museum. Next, please. And this again is another view looking north. And next, please. And then the proposed version. And now, I think is there anything else I guess in the parks? No, okay, so go back to the parks page. Jay is now going to give some broader statistics about the changes.
Yeah, again, we're just anticipating some of the questions, give you some facts and figures. The entire site, including the museum, and the park is 17 acres. Parkland comprises about 10.5 acres of the 17 acres. And this proposal, when the building is built, appropriated, if you will, approximately 1/4 of an acre of the existing parkland out of the 10.5 that's currently parkland. The complete project size is a little over 235,000 square feet. The proposed building will be 5 stories above grade. And I think, as Ellen said, 80% of the current project is within the area currently occupied by the museum. A little over 41,000 square feet of the museum will be renovated. Again, the footprint of the park will lose about a quarter of an acre, which is approximately 2.6% park space. Altogether, with the saving of the two mature trees that Alan described, 7 trees are going to be removed to allow for the construction of the center, and the design of the park provides for 19 new trees, 6 of which are what are called canopy trees, and 13 understory trees, which reflect the height and maturity of the trees that will be planted. Within the park, the proposal is to add 15 benches and a total of 38 benches in the redesigned area. And for those of you who use the dog run, it will remain fully operational, and there will be no change to its design. So hopefully Elizabeth will not have to move to another district to exercise her dog. Hopefully that is helpful to those of you who might have been wondering about some of the statistics of the project. So I will. Or yeah, actually, yeah. We'll take questions from the board members, factual questions. If anyone has any. Yeah, go ahead.
A minor one, but the renderings had beautiful landscaping. Does the museum pay both for the landscaping and the upkeep, or is that up to parks to do? Who's responsible for all the plants and trees and flowers?
You have to answer that.
So the museum currently has a memorandum of understanding between the Friends Museum Park and the Parks Department for the upkeep and maintenance of the park. Of course, it's park land. The museum currently contributes to its operation. We look forward to continuing that, but the fencing, the operation, the cost, lighting, those are issues the park working group still has to work on. So the cost of the new park is not yet fully known, but we'll be working through those issues as well as sources of funds to manage the upkeep as well.
Questions?
Any other questions from board members? Okay, Jeanette.
Can they just point out how we service the delivery and track?
Yeah, can you guys do that? Sure. Do you want the?
Yes.
Here's a microphone.
Certainly. Again, here's Columbus Avenue, and I think as you mentioned. Excuse me for that. Again, here's Columbus Avenue, and I think as many may know, our current service drive is located right here. And at present, it goes down a full level. There's a drop off in the land here, as many may know. And this is under where you're seeing the new building.
Do you want me to go? This is what's.
Thank you. Back here is actually open air yard. This is where garbage collection and other yard functions go on. With the new building, we will still be using this service drive. We'll be making a minor modification in order to curve around and come into the new yard, which will be fully enclosed and really function as a lower level or a good part of the lower level of the building. So service and garbage collection and other yard functions will still go on in this area. It will now be enclosed within the building.
Questions? Any more questions? Dan?
The last part of the resolution. Alternatives will work to achieve a zero carbon footprint. As was said earlier in the meeting, have you done any investigation at all into using geothermal and to use this project to be able to provide geothermal technology? Repeat the question. We're asking about geothermal.
Thanks for that question. We as a
way to use. And the architect gang. And the does not incorporate geothermal, it incorporates other to reduce this. The geothermal was difficult because we already have a lower level, and then you'd have to lower below that into solid rock. So that ended up being one that was, you know, the payback was very difficult with that particular strategy. But it was explored there. But we're looking at a whole combination of other sustainable approaches that work in tandem, including displacement ventilation. So putting in the cooled air at the lower level, letting it rise up naturally. So instead of blowing it around with fans, natural light, stormwater harvesting, and other features as well. So it's a whole combination.
Any other questions? Any other? Louisa has a question.
At the meeting that we had before the committees, we talked about the possibility of separating the park from the entrance to the new entrance to the museum, so that the museum goers would be separated from the neighborhood residents who actually use the park. And welcomed by many people. I was wondering if anything has been done or thought of in plans of how you would accomplish this.
I don't believe there's any design change since that presentation, and our resolution does include the recommendation. They look at those separate. But what we're seeing here, how we are. So because this is what they presented in landmarks, and this is what they presented to us to see the same thing that we bring to full board. Except for what we're going to see at 840 West End, where they came to us at the time this evening. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to move into the building aspect. I mean, one thing just to note is that the currently maintained is in terms of the character of what's always been there. So, Jerry, I'm going to get me to where I need to be really ready. Yes. Okay. So now moving into to look at the overall design of the building. This is a model showing, I'm sorry, here's some Sloan's Avenue at the bottom. So a model of the existing there we go. And now we have the builder center. And so we are up here with this Teddy Roosevelt facade on 77th Street Monetary is open. Next slide, please. To give you a sense of the board. This is the original of the Teddy Roosevelt on Central Park, Hall, and then the museum has had a history of highly time, and so this was its time in the 70s, and this was at the time in the early 1900s, and then in the 1990s. And this is to the needs and the visuals of today. Next slide. The detail of where we've now switched. Columbus Avenue is now, and this is a proposal this is the Central Park, and
board members weren't. So they're the ones who are doing the presentation. Thank you.
this is looking towards Central Park West within the building within it, and it shows the curvilinear approach to the design that is based on natural elements, and there's inspiration from sort of geology and the evolution of water owning rocks and glaciers, and Gina Gang is way more articulate than I, but since I say, well, I'm going to do is do it. But this is sort of, it's a museum of natural history, and this is kind of an evolution of history. In its own way. Next, back now towards, again, you see entrance does is provide the only at-grade ADA compliant consistently from all the way through now. And there are multiple levels of circulation that happen within the building, within this space, and allow for both physical connection and also visual connection. As Ellen was talking about, there's a desire to expose the different areas of the building so you want to go and explore. And then there, as Jeannie mentioned, there's a whole, the loftiness of the space also has energy components to it, natural lighting and skylights, also a great window. Next slide, please. This is the properties of the room, but you'll always see it within the context of some treescape. And can we go to please? Another rendering. And lastly, this now is the design of the building as without any trees. You'll really never perceive it that way, but that's the design. Now, one thing very important to note is that this is the same, or hopefully from the exact same quarry that the Teddy Roosevelt entrance on Central Park West was. It's a pink granite. So this is not accurate. This is something that troubled me because the color was not consistent with, or not harmonious with the masonry adjacent on either side. But in fact, that is not accurate. This is the material. It's this lovely pink granite that you can also find on Central Park West. Next slide. So this is one of the many details that just shows how the building, which touches its neighbors, does so in always with little details, with little reveals and metal changing of materials so that it respects and adapts and moves into the new design. And it's sets back into the space. Okay. This is basically the Ross Plaza. This is, the skating rink is up here in the winter. It wasn't, okay, gone. Rose Hall entrance. And this is back here is where our new building will be. Next, please. And here you can see that it has taken a more recessive kind of background presence. It's using materials that are similar to the secondary materials that they use elsewhere in the project. I mean, you have a continuation of the copper, there's glass, there's masonry. This part of the building is a plaster that is found in other secondary facades of the building. This is a great big window, and it's traditional plaster on lap. It's not just stucco. And this is a big window that lets more light into that 5-story high space. Next, please.
That's it.
That's it. Okay. I just want to make sure there's not anything else that I wanted to add. Okay, I would like to ask, Jeannie, did I miss anything critical here? There's something you'd like to add, like in a second and a half degree. But yours.
Maybe to reinforce that this facade is the one that is relating to materials that already exist on these interior facades of the campus. And the idea here is to try to make this step back building so that the sunlight still continues to come down into the plaza.
Okay, and I'm going to go back now to the main facade because I think it's important that we not rest on. So this is the facade that we're continuing to look at. Okay. Do you think I missed anything? Okay, are we ready to start? More questions? Yes. Yes.
When you're talking about the plaster, just remind us what the color of that is?
Yeah. The color is, I believe, a similar pinkish tone that's intended to blend or
Yes, we're working with them. We don't have the final color, but it's headed to blend with the front of the building, matching that as closely as possible.
More questions on the bill? Q&A from the community. So you guys are ready? Yep. Okay. So you guys remember, any of you who were here 2 weeks ago remember how we ran this? We're going to run this. We have numerous people who have signed up. And we'll be timing you. So thank you very much for your consideration. I'm going to call up 5 speakers at a time. You could line up in this. So going to be Deanna Reber, Barbara Sachs, Claudia DeSalvo, Dawn Shannon Fernandez.
Thank you, Carrie. Dawn Shannon, see.
Okay, is there any other time seated?
I will use my time.
Okay, so please come forward and identify yourself. Please identify.
Projects 800,000 more visitors once this will bring to Columbus Avenue and nearby streets. How will police, firefighters, and emergency medical personnel get through this traffic to help our family members and neighbors in a timely fashion? Imagine this tragedy. A loved one dies or is injured as an entirely predictable consequence of the failure of emergency vehicles to reach them in time. Imagine the pain. Can any of us allow this to happen? Are we as taxpayers to pay for it? Thank you.
Thank you. If you have Claudia or Chris? Claudia? Okay, great. Is Chris here?
I'm ceding my time to Carrie.
Okay, great. Then Dr. Goodman, you're going to have 4 minutes when you come, if you would like to come forward. These 4 who are on the next, in the group of 5. So Carrie, you're going to have 4 minutes. Keeps moving. So Claudia, you have 1 minute.
Claudia Salvo, Community United to Protect Theater and Development Park. Let it be known that we understand the need for the museum to continue to strive to be a world-class, state-of-the-art facility. But could we not have seen a different result? Since the expansion is continued, our love of our backyard is so much strive to take. All of our energies and resources could have been directed into a positive result. Aligned with the community and supported. We have thousands of them who are opposed to the expansion of the museum into public park and submitted thoughts that fell upon deaf ears over the course of a year and a half. Just let me finish one sentence.
One sentence.
Yeah. For the public record, let us all recognize while we unfurl thousands of signatures of community heart of hearts, and let us put this is not a done.
For the last 9 years, new case of the Upper West Side. It's a group of Amsterdam, Columbus, 4,000 employees on the way from the. So often, very proprietary for this. I couldn't wait to come here today to say how enthusiastic come again and being transparent.
Of salient points, extract. We are architecturally important. And we believe the extended entrance of more and more than before. We encourage Community Board 7 to unanimously vote in favor of the Gilder Center, which will benefit our children, our grandchildren, and future generations.
And then Joe Brusco and Randy.
I'm
F, clear cutting trees. Biology, F, increasing respiratory disease. Many may know researchers most of whom are speak are renewable, sustainable resource, about how hard it is to do that. But quite frankly, it's hard only to skylight. It's not precludes American Anthropological Association. Dr. Margaret Mead is one of the very few females that has a park or a part of a park named for her. Almost 2,000. Concrete. I want to ask Ellen Futter if she could explain to the rest of the people here what her relation is selected to be the source of energy for this building.
Exactly.
I'll do it then.